Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson, available wherever podcasts can be found. Of course, taped live at the twitch.tv/Steven Larson. No events this coming week. November is chock full.
Yeah, that first weekend, November. Oh, wow.
Of wrestling. We've got the first weekend, we got Crown Royal.
Saturday morning, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the following day, for like 12 hours, Full Gear.
Oh, Full Gear's. I thought Full Gear was like a couple weeks later. It's not like on the 19th or something. I think it's on the 19th.
Oh, I think you're right. Is there something on the 6th?
The 6th. That sounds familiar. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
There's a lot going on in November. I know Impact is on a double weekend. That's on like the day before Survivor Series, I think, is Impact.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Full Gear is on the 19th. So, yeah.
Okay.
So Survivor Series is Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, right. And
so then Impact would be the day after Thanksgiving.
No, maybe Impact is the day before Full Gear. I don't know what it is.
That's Overdrive, right?
Yeah, Overdrive. Yeah, what a great name. So anyways, the bottom line is this weekend we got nothing.
No, it's the 18th. It's the day before
Full Gear. Ooh. Yeah.
Man,
is Full Gear on a Saturday or Sunday?
I believe it's a Saturday.
Ooh.
19th, I think, is because they don't do Sunday pay-per-views during the NFL season.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Yeah, 18th is a Friday and 19th is a Saturday.
Wowie, wow. Anyways, we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw here with a bunch going on the road to Crown Royal, really. I mean, I know they're kind of setting stuff up for War Games as well, but mainly it's on the road to Crown Royal. We had a big character return, not necessarily a roster member return, but a character return. I thought that was pretty cool. But first, let's talk about this. So, following news on Monday that AEW and CM Punk could be negotiating a contract buyout, Dave Meltzer speculated on, was this Wrestling Observer Radio?
Yeah, Wrestling Observer Radio.
That the Brawl Out investigation could be finally, after fucking over 6 weeks now, coming to an end. These transcripts come to you via Wrestle Talk. This is what Dave had to say. With the freshly cleaned office, mind you, Dave Meltzer. You know, he cleaned his office.
I know, I've heard. Now I wonder if that provides a sense of relief and comfort or anxiety because it's new surroundings. It's different.
He's probably really he doesn't know where he put anything.
That could be.
That's how I am. Like, where did I put that stuff? And then I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, Dave said this. It's so unlike most organizations in the sense that when you've got the big star, CM Punk, and I know a lot of the locker room is very negative to him, but when you've got your big drawing card and something like that happens, you try to salvage it, save it. I know a lot of people are disappointed. I'm not saying that the decision is wrong, considering how much time they put into the decision. And you know that, again, you're not going to get rid of your big drawing card unless it's way, way over the bounds. He's talking about, letting CM Punk go. He continues, because you're always going to get a second chance. And he did after the Adam Page promo where he did that impromptu deal. Let's say Sammy Guevara, for example. Sammy Guevara has a problem with Andrade, but he's not feuding with him or anything. Just out of nowhere, while Andrade is backstage, Sammy cuts that impromptu promo just like Punk did to Page. Sammy gets fired from that. No question about it. Punk didn't because he's Punk, and that probably bought him extra. But then the other two things happened. So many people have brought up to me the idea of turning this into an angle, which certainly UFC would have turned this into an angle if the guys were in the same weight class and promoted the hell out of it and been happy to do so. And WWE probably would have as well. But maybe in this situation, AEW, felt that they just needed to not turn into an angle. And I know a lot of the talent felt that. This thing feels like it's wrapping up. It feels like the Young Bucks and Omega are coming back somewhat soon. That's not official or anything like that. Just that feeling. There's been teases and stuff. I wonder, end quote, number one, we obviously have said before, if there's somebody to trust about AEW stuff, it's Dave Meltzer. He knows everybody there. He's been in close contact with them for like years now. And I wonder, and this is just me sort of shooting off here and has nothing to do with really what we're going to talk about, but I wonder how much of when it comes to AEW, when it comes to subjects that he knows stuff about, how much like he can't really say, but he knows because he's been in contact to a degree and maybe has received hints about it.
The line here, I'm not saying that the decision is wrong. Mm-hmm. That implies that he knows what the decision is.
Yeah. Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But maybe, he was told on background,
yeah.
Hey, don't talk about this. But I mean, that could not entirely be the case. It could just be speculation and supposition based on conversations we've had. But
Yeah.
when you read the sentence, I'm not saying that decision is wrong. You can infer that based on how he put it, he might know what the decision is.
He's pretty certain that this is going down, that the buyout's happening
It
and
seems to
Punk's
be the
not
case.
going to come back. Yeah. So I take his point that you do the page thing, you do the promo where you say, you know, that awful line, the apology should be as public.
As loud as in public as the disrespect, yes.
That's one thing. I doubt that Sammy Guevara would be fired.
No,
if
Sammy
he
would
did
not
that.
have been fired if he had done something like that. No.
Now, maybe the reality is Zach Clayton. Maybe he would.
Maybe.
But
yes.
Sammy's a pillar. He ain't getting fired anytime
But at the same
soon.
time, if Zach Clayton had done something like that, I don't think anybody would pay attention to it.
Nobody. If Zach Clayton drops a promo in the woods, would anybody hear it? Did it happen? Yeah. But you know, but then he talks about the media scrum. The media scrum is I think the media scrum is even worse than the backstage brawl. The media scrum. This dude got up there next to his boss and ran the company down and buried the EVPs. Buried the way this place is run while he's sitting next to the guy running it.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, that's a fireable from my standpoint.
Yeah. I mean, as we mentioned back when that happens, if he just wanted to address the Colt Cabana rumors, he could have done that in a matter of like 2 sentences. Mm-hmm. I'm not friends with Colt. I had nothing to do with his employment status with the company. And anything you hear to the contrary is incorrect. If he had kept it at that, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But to go further from there, massive issue.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've talked about this a lot, and you guys know our opinions on it.
Yes.
But yeah, you know, it'll be nice to have this behind us. It'll be nice to have Kenny and the Bucks back on TV. And it's a bummer that this happened, because it's funny. I've been sort of going over this in my head, because you know I've been thinking about doing some sort of Wrestle Juice video on Punk and AEW. And so much of his run in AEW was really good. I mean, you remember that first stretch where it's like, hey, I've been gone for this long. I need to figure out how to wrestle. And he was having hard times against like Seidel and or hard matches, like really hotly contested matches against opponents that are like on Dark and Elevation, against younger guys like Garcia and Moriarty. And they were phenomenal matches. And it's like, man, I really got to put 2 and 2 together, figure out how to elevate to the next level. And he'd always win. But it was really tough for him to get there. And he always seemed gassed like 2 minutes into the bout.
Yeah.
And then they started doing the stuff like with Eddie, where it was more about, and MJF for that matter, where it was about, well, people in the locker room don't really like you. And then it all seemed to just get worse from there. As they say, he got worked into a shoot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much of his run there was really good. And then he comes back and he drops that Hangman thing. And it's like, what was that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it was all just kind of bad.
Yeah.
But really, that was like basically a single, 2 feuds, I guess, Hangman and then Mox.
Yeah.
But it was like, yeah, it was. And I remember watching that Hangman promo. I was like, okay, well, I'm giving you guys the benefit of the doubt. Why is Hangman acting weird?
Yeah, I know. I know.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing never really seemed to line up. And I don't know. It's you know, we always kind of make fun of the wrestling trope of when people are at the wrestling shows, apparently they don't talk.
Yeah.
That kind of seemed to be the
Yeah.
case with Punk and Hangman. The only time they seemed to interact at all is when they had the promos in the ring. And I don't know if Punk was like, okay, this is weird. Well, I ain't taking this so personally, but that was like actually how he felt. Once they walk through the curtain backstage, they go their separate ways and don't cross paths, try to hash this all out. I don't know, but you look at it in hindsight, and it's interesting to think, well, maybe something like that kind of happened.
Yeah.
Because it seems like if there was an issue that, hey, sit down, talk about it. Maybe they did. We don't know. But maybe they didn't. We don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's kind of a shame that so much of it was actually pretty damn good.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there.
There was a lot of good, like the MJF feud was that happened this year, right? That happened 2022. Yeah, that probably would have
Early
been
in the year.
Probably would like be up there with the feud of the year. I thought they did some amazing stuff there.
Yeah, I mean that was the one person that Punk feuded with. I feel like really elevated the other person.
Yeah, and MJF. That's when you started to see the depths that you see even his character now. It had its sort of genesis then, you know.
Yeah.
He started bringing up being bullied in school and revering Punk and all that kind of stuff. So, so yeah, it'll be nice for this to be behind us. And then I don't know, in whatever 7 months or whatever, if Punk's healed up, to see if he tries to continue his wrestling career.
Yep. Or just kind of says, see you later.
Yep.
Pursue some other endeavors. Maybe he gets back in the octagon, Steve.
We can only hope. We can only hope. Maybe what's the local promotion that they got for MMA stuff? Gladiators Challenge.
Yeah.
Let's get him in here for Gladiators Challenge.
All right.
All right, man. Absolutely. Nikki Cross has returned as the Nikki Cross character. No more. The mask is off. And evidently she is sowing some seeds of chaos there at the end of Monday Night Raw last night. I know a lot of people thought it was a meh episode. I guess I can kind of understand a lot of that sentiment. Again, we talk often on the show about how our personal viewing experiences of the 3-hour block of programming of Monday Night Raw, can sometimes alter our perception if the episode is good or bad or whatever. Enforcer and I did our watch along 2 hours last night, and then I watched the first hour of it a little bit last night before that, but then a little bit of it today. I didn't think it was all that bad of an episode, but I can understand, like, if there's a different viewing experience, I can understand that maybe, taken in its entirety, it wasn't all that great.
Yeah, I mean, it was bookended by 2 really solid matches. The opening bout between Finn Balor and Carl Anderson was really good. The main event was really, really good. Mm-hmm. And just kind of everything in between. And I understand there's aspects from the production standpoint that you probably can or don't want to do every week. Mm-hmm. But notably absent from Raw of late is some of the common production, I don't want to say tricks, but tools that Triple H employs. Action going on multiple planes of the shot, stuff happening in the foreground, but what you really need to pay attention to is stuff in the background. He was doing that a ton as soon as he took over, and we haven't seen it as much. Again, that's probably not something you want to do on a weekly basis, but to use it quite a bit and then seemingly not use it at all, it's a bit jarring, because that's one of those things that he employed that made the show feel more cohesive. Mm-hmm. And based on that, again, it's expectation, this viewing experience. I was kind of hoping he'd step away from some of the tropes that had been established by Vince. Hasn't really happened. Really, in my estimation, what kind of brought the show down last night was too much JBL. This stuff isn't working. It's not good. It's really one note. This week, he brought a little Dan Lambert to the thing, and that's not a positive. Was not a fan of JBL this week. As you mentioned, we talked about it beforehand. They're like focusing on all the worst aspects of JBL. They're leaning into his bullying. It's all you couldn't handle wrestling in the Attitude Era. And I, like Gargano said, yeah, I was 8 back then. That's 25 years ago. Things change. The business changes.
Well, so to add on to that, and I agree with everything you're saying, I think JBL can be very entertaining. I think that some of his stuff on commentary, when he was on commentary, was pretty damn entertaining. There is an aspect of JBL that is not entertaining at all, and they've seemingly decided to take all those aspects that are just get off my TV, and they've just combined them into this JBL.
Yeah,
I was cracking up because for a guy who touts being the wrestling god and accomplishments, and he's reading off this, Baron Corbin is not really the guy that you want to read off his accomplishments, because it's like House of Cards stuff. It all falls apart when you stack it up. Failed Money in the Bank cash in. Did he win Money in the Bank? Sure. Failed the cash in. Humiliated in the cash in attempt. It wasn't even like, oh, hey, I'm going to do this straight up. He got humiliated when he did his cash in. The Andre the Giant Battle Royal? Like, really? Kind of who cares about that? They don't really, that's not even. So, like, he's going to get up there with a straight face. Like, dude, when Corbin got into his limo a month ago or whatever, I was like, oh, we're going to get some fun vignettes that plays up JBL's wealth and Happy Corbin's wealth. And that could be kind of fun. But instead we get the JBL who is like on the border doing like hugely offensive stuff back in the Ruthless Aggression era. And it's like that JBL. And I'm like, I don't care about, I don't take you seriously because Paul Heyman buried you when he said you're only champion because Triple H doesn't want to work Tuesdays. Yep. Ever since then, I've never been able to take JBL seriously. And he hasn't given me a reason to.
Nope. Here's another thing I've noticed. I feel like if you look at Corbin during all the times where JBL is next to him talking and Corbin can't or doesn't say a word, I feel like if you look at Corbin's face, he's saying, based on his expression, I could so easily be doing all this.
I know.
Corbin does not need someone doing his talking for him.
No, he doesn't. He's developed into a character all of his own.
I know.
And he stands behind JBL like a child. And he's got that ridiculous hat. Visually, he's ill-branded.
Yeah.
You're right. It stops it dead. And it's just not, it doesn't help anybody. Like, it makes everybody look worse.
It really does. Now, it kind of feels like there's too many ingredients in this thing they're putting together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it was just JBL coming out and endorsing Corbin as new wrestling god, all right, fine. I mean, I'm not a fan of bringing up the whole Attitude Era thing because, again, it's 25 years after the fact. The industry just changed a ton.
Yeah.
You know, I guess someone can make the case that some of the Attitude Era's top stars couldn't do anything in the 50s. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, it's all a matter of perspective.
Dude, you bring some, I don't know. Come on. Like, how many, you go back to the Attitude Era. How many like matches back then in WWF were getting like 4 or 5 stars?
Oh, very few, because most of them didn't last more than 4 or 5 minutes on Raw.
Even pay-per-view, man, like by and
really
large,
short.
Yeah, like Corbin could probably run circles around the Attitude Era. If you drag some of those Attitude Era people into the modern day, I don't think a lot of them will be able to hang in the modern day. Like, it's kind of burying what's going on now. And I know that's sort of the point. Oh, he's the bad guy. We're supposed to be disagreeing with him. I get that. But it's a crap take. And the idea of JBL and Corbin being more like, you know, spiritually aligned in that they have excessive wealth and they're spreading around and they're being kind of dicks about that and comedic about it. That to me would be so much more fun. This entire thing with JBL and Corbin lacks fun. And the one thing about bum ass Corbin and then some of Happy Corbin, some of it was crap. Some of it was really fun.
Yeah.
Some of it really was.
You know, you mentioned that Attitude Era stars not be able to really go in the ring today against modern competitors. You imagine some of the wrestlers from the Attitude Era, maybe even JBL, trying to get in the ring with Luthez. Luthez would twist him into a pretzel.
I know, yeah, I know. Yeah.
You know, you can't hold up Attitude Era as the era of professional wrestling.
Yeah,
because it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, it was the most popular it's ever been, and there's good stuff, but there's a lot of awful stuff.
There's a lot of awful stuff. It was just, look, 90% of the Attitude Era did have a wealth. You know what the Attitude Era had? It had charisma. It had probably more than any other era, sheer charisma. And the programming had such a sense of urgency that a lot of people sort of don't remember. A lot of the stories were shit. A lot of the angles were crap. The gimmicks themselves sometimes were crap. But my God, Stone Cold, Rock, Triple H, Mankind, Taker, we're talking even Shane McMahon back then. Look, Kurt Angle, Edge, Christian, loads of charisma. And that's kind of what people remember. Christian, even back then. Tons of charisma.
Yeah.
And just the word attitude. There was just an edge to it that we didn't have before. And that's what people remember fondly, and they should because that's why it was good. But let's not pretend that, like, I mean, I know the idea is JBL saying, oh, you couldn't hack it. You wouldn't be tough enough because you're too small. I hate that shit.
I know.
It's just, it's not compelling television. You know what I mean?
Like wrestling in the independents for 10 years means you're not tough. No, I mean, that's absolute bullshit.
I've seen plenty of PWG.
Yeah.
and especially Miss Candice LeRae did a lot of fucked up shit back then, man.
Yeah.
So, but no, that I agree. That's sort of the low point. I agree with that. I think, I don't know, like Elias as a good guy is not really, Elias has never really done much for me. I think that's a dude
Here's the
who's
thing.
had a lot
There's one moment last night that made me pop is when Riddle was talking a bunch, and right before Gable and Otis stepped in, you see Elias take the guitar off his shoulder and kind of reposition it like he's going to blast Matt Riddle with it.
I didn't even notice
It's
that.
pretty
That's
funny.
hilarious.
He had it over his shoulder, and he just kind of held it like this and turned around like a baseball bat, like he was just ready to blast it.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
So I think face Elias. I mean, they're kind of leaning back into kind of obnoxious Matt Riddle, but I think the story is that he's so desperate to find another friend, a la Randy, that he's just trying to find a friendship with like anybody.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I got my bongos. I'll go up to Elias, and that'll be my attempt to start a friendship with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah.
And I feel like Elias is like, all right, you like, my brother liked you, so I'll give you the time of day for now. Mm-hmm. But as soon as you give me one reason to bash you over the head with this guitar, I'm going to do it. And let's take a quick break here, get a word from our sponsor, RexMD. Listen, guys, I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
You don't like going to the doctor.
Oh, who does?
You know, it could be a real pain to have to shuffle around your whole schedule just to make your appointment. And then things could turn awkward if you got to talk to the doctor about certain issues. I'm talking about those.
Yeah.
Down there in the crotch chop zone.
Yeah, man, you got a problem getting bricked up. Here's something to keep in mind, though. Most men's health issues have a simple solution, and RexMD is all about simple solutions. You see, RexMD makes getting generic and branded Viagra or Cialis easy. Everything's online, even the prescription, and they deliver directly to your door. No office visits, no talking to a receptionist. It's super simple.
It is super simple. All you got to do is fill out a quick medical questionnaire online, and a doctor will review your situation and prescribe you generic Viagra if appropriate. And you know what? I honestly had no idea that Viagra can cost around $90 a pill.
Whoa.
But with RexMD, you can get generic Viagra for as low as $2 a pill.
That's right. Thanks to RexMD, over 300,000 guys have gotten generic Viagra quickly and conveniently. RexMD is fast, simple, and cheap, and you can access your U.S. licensed RexMD physician anytime you need afterwards.
RexMD just works, and it works the very first night. So guys, are you ready?
Wang.
Starter packs of generic Viagra or Cialis are now available for our viewers, but you've got to go to RexMD.com/raw to get started. That's RexMD, RexMD.com/raw.
Let's talk about some of the more positive aspects. I thought there were two things that stood out to me. Number one, they continue to book Rhea Ripley like an absolute star.
Oh, God.
She steals everything she's on. Every time her dropping Gallows with the fucking body slam.
That was amazing.
Fucking awesome. We got a little bit of Sour Boy in the backstage segment, letting the OC show off their chemistry.
Yeah.
But Rhea Ripley is an absolute star, and the crowd loves her to death. I thought, you put
Judgment Day as a whole is
they're great.
To get over.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely.
To get over.
In that way that you want them to. I thought the main event was fucking fantastic.
It was really good.
I thought Bayley versus Bianca Belair, you can see now they've had a couple of big matches. They've developed that in-ring chemistry where there's an extra. You look at Bianca in there, and it's like fucking watching, I don't know, like jazz or something. It's like fucking the improv there, the spring in the step, the extra little bits and pieces that she does, the storytelling. That fucking main event was killer, man. It was absolutely killer.
It was really good. It was really good. The main event was when Nikki Cross, almost said Ricky. Nikki Cross came back.
Ricky
shedding the Nikki ASH gear, the gimmick. As you said, instilling a bit of chaos.
She was wrecking everybody she saw.
Just laying everybody out.
Yeah.
So we got a wild card in the women's division on Raw now.
Yeah.
We talked about this before we got rolling here about going into War Games at Survivor Series. Now that Nikki's there, I know she attacked everybody. Bayley, Damage Control, Bianca. Will she kind of forge a loose alliance with Damage Control? Candice will align with Bianca, Asuka, and Alexa to have the two War Games squads.
That could be. Yeah, I think that's a possibility. I don't know. I get the feeling that whoever Nikki, like Damage Control, you think would have to win the War Games, depending on how like a title shot figures between Bailey and Bianca.
It would depend if in that match. Well, I guess it's 4-4. You wouldn't have winner take all.
Yeah.
That would make any sense.
So I don't know. The pieces are still sort of being put together, I guess. I really appreciate one thing that I do appreciate. It's funny because, again, we talked about this a little bit, so I'm going to be redundant to you in chat maybe. But, I saw some sentiment on Twitter that, the episode wasn't great. So, it's back to like Vince era. And it's like, it's not. Like, no, we're going to critique it against the best against the best that we've seen of Triple H so far. But like, make no mistake. It is leagues ahead of where Vince was. We still don't have pointless
rematches. At least when the match happens on the show, they take the time to try to motivate it.
Well, one thing that I really loved about last night, about the Nikki Cross reveal especially, was so much of what they do has logic behind it. When Kevin, who on commentary, who was never in NXT, says, this is an unhinged Nikki Cross that I've never seen before. Yeah. And Corey says, I have. Mm-hmm. And there's that sense of foreboding, like, oh God, this is Nikki from NXT, because he's been there. He knows that.
Yeah.
I love that kind of shit. And if this was Vince doing it, commentary would be like, oh, who is this? I don't know. Even though it's like, no, why don't you remember that? That's the thing that I do appreciate the stuff you're talking about with like the language that Triple H was using for a spell where you have stuff happening in the background. I get the feeling that the QR code stuff was his fun bit of production for that period of time.
Yeah.
I think there's probably only so much that you could really plan into 3 hours of live TV. But the QR code, I think, was like, okay, this is going to be the thing that we focus on that people are going to pick apart about the broadcast. That'll make it more interesting, as opposed to using that stuff where you have stuff going on in the background. Well, maybe they're in a lull right now. He's just getting over COVID. I don't know. But I appreciate that there's always an attention to logic. Even Baron Corbin coming over as a trade for Rey Mysterio. That's logical. There's something to it. When Kevin says, number one, TV direction was great, because when Nikki first came flying off the thing, we were like, who the fuck is that? Because her hair is all flipping around, and the camera was very careful not to go in for a close-up too soon.
Yeah.
The direction on last night's Nikki Cross reveal was great, because they're trying to figure out, who is that? Who is this person? You're like, whoa, wait a second. Was that Nikki? And up until like the reveal, when she lays out, I think, I forget who it was. It was either Bianca or I think it was Bailey. It's like, well, is that? Oh, it is. It's fucking Nikki. But look at how she's dressed. She's not in the outfit. And Corey built it up really well. So the mask is off now. And Kevin says, I've never seen her like this. And Corey says, I have. I thought it was a really, really masterful bit of TV direction.
Yeah, it was well done. Done. We could jump into it here. Show opened up. Finn Balor versus Carl Anderson. Before the match got started, we had some promos off. Judgment Day comes to the ring first. Rhea says last week AJ found out what mommy's known all along. And it's the same thing I've been trying to get through you thick-skulled dimwits heads. And that is that Judgment Day runs Raw. And another thing AJ found out is that Dom is all man.
Yeah.
And then Finn says, and perhaps one of the greatest matches of all time, AJ faced off against my main man, Dominic, and the phenomenal AJ Styles crumbled under the pressure. And then Priest says, that brings me to my favorite time of the show, when you all rise. He's yelling at the crowd, rise, rise, rise. And the crowd doesn't quite know why they're rising, other than just, hey, we like Judgment Day, and we're going to rise for this guy. It's the interactive aspect of the show, so people like
right. So he has everybody up, and you know what he is? He has them rising for? To pay respect to the greatest luchador in the history of this business, Dom Mysterio. All these fools had to get out of their chairs for Dom.
Oh, I know. And he got him to do it. So Dom says, Judgment Day are the only ones who ever believed in me. And last week, I proved all my haters and doubters wrong when I beat AJ Styles clean in the middle of the ring. And how did I do it? Because I'm built differently. The more I think about it, I'm this generation's Eddie Guerrero. No, Eddie Guerrero was his generation's Dominic. And last week, what I did to AJ is just a small taste of what Judgment Day. Before he can finish that thought, he's interrupted by the OC. AJ tells Dom to shut up. This is Charlotte, and they know good wrestling when they see it, and you are not it. You want to compare yourself to Eddie, but you're this generation's James Ellsworth.
Ooh.
So the OC gets in the ring. AJ says, Dom, there's going to come a time when you can't hide behind Judgment Day because the OC is going to pick them off one by one by one. And Finn says, oh, AJ, you're one to talk about hiding. You're hiding in the club right now, the club I started. And while I'm being honest, ever since I left the club and move on, everyone who ever came after me is living off my legacy. Today, Judgment Day is in town. Step up and get put down.
So Carl Anderson tells Finn it's time to stop talking and time to remind Charlotte. While Carl Anderson is the toughest man in the building, he says, let's clear this ring and do this match right now. So we get that match, and there's all sorts of great shenanigans, including Doc Gallows getting body slammed by Rhea Ripley. First he gets posted, and then he gets body slammed. That was fucking awesome. And then Carl gets Finn up on his shoulders. Dom distracts the ref. Rhea's able to slide in. Big low blow to Carl Anderson's dick and balls, and then Finn gets the cover there to get the win over Sour Boy.
And it's not, I mean, Rhea slamming Gallows was great, but her crap talk afterwards.
Oh, yeah, too sweet me.
Oh, it was so good.
That was good. Man, that's good stuff. Yeah, they're building her
like
up
even during the
fierce.
match when she was like yelling at Finn when he had the advantage, the way she was like, encouraging him. Like you could hear her clear as day on the TV broadcast because she was so into it. It's great.
Yeah.
Rhea's awesome. Rhea's fantastic.
Yeah. Jonathan here in chat has a good point. He says, it makes me super happy thinking about how Eddie would be loving this. He would be loving that line. Eddie Guerrero was his generation's Dominic Mysterio. Oh, Eddie would fucking flip for that line. That's such a great line.
Oh, it was so good. It's so good. Then we're backstage. John Gargano is walking. Miz steps up. So Miz tells Gargano, I want to know what you know. And Gargano says, I know what's going on between you and Dexter. And Miz says, and that is, and Gargano says, Mike, you know. And Miz says, no, I don't know because there's nothing to know. And Gargano says, well, if there's nothing to know, and why are you asking me what I know anyways? Quit lying and tell the truth. Miz says, I'm not lying. You're just trying to provoke me like some internet troll. You're trying to use your name for your own, or my name for your own personal gain. And while I respect that, I'm not your little clickbait. So I'm going to go out there and tell the truth. And Gargano says, yes, please. That's what we want. I believe in you, Miz. And so the Miz storms off, walks to the curtain, heads to the ring to drop a promo.
We get a Miz promo. So he says, John has accused me of keeping a secret about what happened between myself and Loomis. He says, and Johnny Wrestling is right. I am keeping a secret, so I'm going to reveal that secret. But first, let's review the facts. And then he goes over.
He just lists off the series of events with him and Loomis and stuff.
Right. He says, but what we're missing that allowed me to fill in those blanks. He says, the night I was about to win the U.S. title, Loomis came to me and showed me I was the target. The reason that Loomis targeted me was because of my mind. He says, we all know my knowledge and resume, so when I chose to give a selfless act and share my expertise with an up-and-coming superstar, Loomis couldn't stand that I chose Ciampa instead. So Loomis sat at home and plotted his revenge. He says, I didn't want Ciampa to know why this is happening because he's my best friend. He pulls out the little card thing of him and Ciampa. Yeah. He's my best friend, and he's been missing for weeks. Gargano comes out and says, no, Miz, you're full of crap. We both know what really happened. You're so full of yourself that you don't even know that your friend Tommaso Ciampa, he's not missing. I just texted him a few minutes ago and he's injured. He says, so you're just a huge liar. But if you want Dexter and me out of your life, all you got to do is tell the real truth, or you're gonna know, or you know what's going to happen. I have a whistle. I'm not afraid to blow it. Miz says, I've been telling the truth and nothing but the truth. And then our truth comes to the ring. He says, he tells Miz, he says, I wanted you to tell the truth. He said, you want to tell the truth? Dog, I'm here. Gargano says he has a point. He is the real truth. So Miz asks if everyone's lost their minds, have they eaten too much terrible Carolina comfort food? Drew says, you don't have to talk down about your mac and cheese. So anyways, long story short, we get a match between the Miz and R-Truth. This stuff is absolutely ridiculous. But I am curious about what Gargano's talking about. I shouldn't care. If this was Vince, this is the difference. If this was Vince era, Vince wouldn't even know what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. This has got to be different. I think they know what it is. They're just building to it. It's just in a really stupidly comedic way that doesn't really hit much, but it hits kind of because Miz has got decent chemistry. At least I'll put it this way. I'm not personally endlessly bored by The Miz these days.
Yeah.
Because they do have him surrounded with some pretty good pieces. So
it came close when he did the in-ring promo, and he's just talking on and on and on. If you don't put the Miz in the ring and give him 10 minutes to talk, then he could be fine.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
So we got that match between The Miz and R-Truth, and while the match is happening, Miz notices somebody with like a hoodie on and the hood over their head and calls for security because he thinks it's Loomis.
Doing the whole glove thing. That's what he was doing, yeah.
So the Truth uses that distraction to roll up The Miz to get the win, and the camera cuts over to the said person. They take the hood off down from the hoodie. It's Gargano. Last, The Miz gives him double thumbs up.
And one thing I do appreciate about last night's Raw, there was a lot of Gargano. There was all over the show, yeah. After that, Kathy Kelly is interviewing Candice LeRae. She says, is this everything you expect coming back to WWE? She says, 1 minute I'm competing in NXT. The next, we're expanding our family. She says, and all of a sudden, we're on Raw. She says, I knew this was going to be a challenge for me. She said, I had some support. I had so much support from superstars like Alexa, Asuka, and Bianca. And then Damage Control steps in, tells Kathy to scram. Bailey's got questions. She says, first question, who cares? We don't see Asuka and Alexa here to listen to your sob story. No, we put them on the shelf just like Becky Lynch. She says, we do what we want. She said, did you watch SmackDown? Candice is like, what are you trying to prove? That you're in control of the women's division? She says, the only thing you've proven to me is that Io is still untrustworthy, Dakota Kai is still spiteful, and you're still not champion. And Bailey says, yet. She says, and if you don't think we're in control right now, you better look around because I don't see any friends here to help you. So then Bailey knocks over the camera guy and Damage Control attacks Candice LeRae.
Yeah. So then we got Elias. He's walking backstage. He approaches Riddle. And Elias is like, hey, I want to clear the air about last week. And Riddle says, oh, bro, the air is clear.
Bro.
Says, I've been working on my rhymes to add to your sick tunes. And Elias says, well, that's nice, but I'm a serious artist. People love to hear me perform. But I've had a long history of being disrespected and interrupted, so much so that I took a vow that if it ever happened when I came back, I'd do something about it. But I know you and Zeke were close, so I'm going to let last week slide. But if it happens again, I might not be so nice. So then Riddle says, okay, I've been hitting the bongs all week. His bongos. Check it out. And that's when he starts playing. That's when Elias takes the guitar off his shoulder, and it's about, he wants to hit him so bad. So Alpha Academy steps in. Gable says, shoosh. Says, it's not bad enough. We got Elias back playing his rotten tunes. Now we got this clown on the instruments. Are they a band or something? What do you call yourselves? Blink 180 shoosh. And Riddle's like, that's not even funny. We don't have a name for our band yet. And Gable says, Elias, last week it was a keyboard. What's next? The kazoo. Let's get serious. Actually, shave the beard off and pretend to be Ezekiel again. I liked him better anyways. And so Elias says, first off, Riddle and I, we're not in a band. And then Riddle goes, oh. Second, don't ever talk about my younger brother like that. I just got telling Riddle that I hate being interrupted. And wouldn't you know, you and this big buffoon, Otis, walk in and interrupt me. So how about you meet me in that ring and find out why WB stands for Walk with Elias? Gable says, you're on.
Yeah. After that, we had Austin Theory versus Mustafa Ali with some sick new ring attire. They were like board shorts kind of, but like gold and like a dark blue.
Yeah, they look great.
They look beautiful. So Theory comes out. He drops a promo first. He says,
it's a picture-in-picture one.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He says, wow, I'm Mustafa Ali. I can't get a title match with Seth Rollins. I don't know why we're wasting airtime on you, Mustafa. He says, you need to be more like me, the youngest U.S. champ in WWE history and the youngest Mr. Money in the Bank. He says, just do me a favor. Don't cry after you wake up from going A-Town down. And then Seth Rollins in some wonderful vault joins commentary.
Oh, the crowd was
for the match.
All about Seth Rollins.
He's like the most over thing in WWE. Yeah. So anyways, this match happens. There's a great bit where Theory's going to take a selfie. He's taking video, and Mustafa Ali comes up from behind him and whacks him. I think he goes off the apron. But then he posted that video on social media.
Oh, it was so good.
It was really good, yeah.
That drop kick off the apron, that was great. Yeah, and Ali hits like a somersault senton off the top rope to the floor. In the end, though, Seth Rollins. So towards the end, it was interesting. So Ali misses a 450. He looks for a second tornado DT. He hit one earlier. Instead, Theory versus that to a neck breaker gets a 2. So Seth starts like actively giving Theory advice. He's like, put Ali down, end this match. So Theory's looking for his finish. Ali escapes that, hits a backstabber. He goes up top. Seth distracts the ref while Theory kicks the top rope. So Ali tumbles off. Theory hits his finish for the win. And then Seth gets in the ring and raises Theory's hands. Theory leaves, so Seth throws Ali out of the ring, throws him in the timekeeper area, takes him into the stands, and then chucks him into, looks like hockey boards
in
the stands, tells security, get him out of here. So he walks back to ringside, gets his belt, walks up the ramp. Ali leaps in, dives into Seth, hits some shots. They start getting to like a hockey fight. Eventually, Ali throws Seth into the Tron, and Seth flees backstage. Seth also mentioned the referenced Theory being a part of his kind of deal with Buddy.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So I don't know. This could be nothing. This could just be a means to build heat for a Seth-Ali feud, getting Theory involved here. But also, it'd be interesting if Seth was like, hey, Austin, I'll teach you how to cash in for real. All to get closer to Austin to try to get that briefcase off him.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be good. After that, and again, you built up all this history here. Might as well use it,
Exactly.
So you got Gargano again backstage. John. Miz catches up to him. Gargano says, he says, dude, I can't do this now, Mike. I got to go check on Candace. Again, I love that they're referencing that. Miz says, he says, you know what? He says, you dressed up like the man that cannot be named. You deceived me. Gargano says, look, you've been deceiving everybody. That makes two of us. And then Miz storms off. Gargano turns into JBL and Baron Corbin. And JBL says, oh, you're an internet darling, an independent hero. I don't know what it's like to spend 10 years in a single single A ball. He says, we did. I thought you never mind. I thought it was a typo for like a bingo hall. Yeah. A single A ball. He says, we didn't have to do that. He says, but you're in the major leagues now. When you walk by a legend, a Hall of Famer, you stop and introduce yourself. Because if this was the Attitude Era, you'd be carrying my bags. He says, you think it's funny to mess with the Miz? Learn some respect, son. And then Gargano says, yeah, I was 8 during the Attitude Era, but you're right. I'm going to give you my respect. So I'll stick out my hand and introduce myself. I'm Johnny Wrestling. Nice to meet you, MC Hammerpants. He says, I'd like to introduce myself to Baron, but he changed his name so much. He says, what's your name now? Boring? Oh, I mean, Baron? He says, Baron wants to speak his mind.
Baron's acted like he's
about to say something, yeah. JBL stops him, says, let's do this where the world can watch. Mr. Gargano's going to realize what Raw's greatest acquisition is all about. So that match is later.
Yep. We got a Bianca and Bailey video package, and then we got Amos taking on 4 local enhancement talents.
Yeah.
So before that happened, MVP has a promo. Says last week on SmackDown, Amos and Braun came face to face for the first time, and Braun was unceremoniously tossed out of the ring like a child. Braun is one of the biggest, meanest big men to ever grace a WWE ring. If that could happen to Braun, what chance do you men think you have today? Says Braun likes to say, get these hands.
Good hands.
Have you ever seen hands in your life like these? And so Amos puts his hand in the face of one of the enhancement talent. And it's like almost as large as the dude's face.
Yeah.
And then he makes a fist out of it, and MVP says, look, his fist is as large as a ham.
Yeah.
And so he says, anyways, gentlemen, I want you to know I respect your ambition and applaud your courage stepping in the ring today. Before we get started, y'all have good health insurance, right? You're all paid up? All right, good.
We're in America,
I hope you're watching.
Doesn't work that way.
Ron, I hope you're watching, because after Crown Jewel, there will only be one monster in WWE, Amos.
Yeah, and then he just fucking annihilates all these guys.
He destroys them.
Man, it was pretty great. I was only sad he didn't stack all 4 guys.
I know.
But he stacked one dude on another, put his foot on them to, of course, get the win here. But yeah, it was just him chucking people around. It was pretty great.
Yeah.
After that, we had Chad Gable versus Elias set up earlier in the night.
That knee off the moonsault was crazy.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that was good stuff. In the end, Gable pushes Elias down to the floor. Otis charges at him. Elias sidesteps, sends the tree trunk into the ring post. Elias boots Gable and hits a spinning suplex for the win. But then afterwards, Otis attacks him. Gable joins in, and then Riddle comes scooting down to the ring to make the save.
Yep. Then we're backstage. The OC are in the traders room. Carl Anderson has some ice on his front area. AJ says, we have a Rhea problem. And Luke says, I have a Rhea-lution. We all know I'm the best here with women. And then AJ says, well, Rhea body slammed you. And Gallows says, yeah, body slams are my love language. I'll handle it. And so he leaves. And Carl Anderson says, oh, he isn't good with women. And AJ says, no, he's terrible.
He's terrible with women.
So we go to commercial. We come back, and they're still in the trainer's room.
Yeah.
So Gallows stumbles back in the trainer's room, holding his front area.
Yeah.
And he says, oh, she got me too.
he grabs the ice pack from Sour Boy and puts it on his nuts.
Yeah. So then AJ says, we can all agree we have a Rhea problem. And Gallows says, yeah, we do. And AJ goes, gosh, we got to do something.
So who are they going to recruit?
I mean, Liv Morgan makes sense.
She was for a second. Yeah, she was part of that whole thing. Yeah. I'd like it to be Shayna. I know she's on SmackDown and she's probably going to have a thing with Ronda, but that seems like she'd fit in. I feel like she'd fit in there. That could be fun, but who knows? But she'd have to like lose to Rhea though.
Let's assume it's someone from Raw. Who would it be? Because all the names I can think of are on SmackDown.
Zoe Jeremy here says Beth Phoenix. I feel like Beth would make sense only if Edge got involved.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they're like a package deal. It's really nobody, huh?
Tamina?
Yeah, I was thinking like you dig into the 24/7 division. Tamina, Dana Brooke. I'm too sweet. Oh, no. After that, we had a Baron Corbin. Oh, Piper Niven would be cool. Alto says cool. Piper Niven. That'd be
cool if it was Piper.
That'd be rad. That'd be fucking sick, actually. Kicked off with the aforementioned JBL promo, a.k.a. bathroom break.
Oh.
Says the fans are problems. He brings up millennials being ambitionless and Gen Zers being ambitionless, mediocrity become the norm. I think he used the term safe space. He says it's why you like Johnny Gargano. He talks crap about the Panthers. Talks about Michael Jordan and what Charlotte did with him. Turned him into a loser. So anyways, it's really long. And he hypes up Baron Corbin. And then Corbin comes to the ring. We get a match. And, you know, at least with the distraction. So Triple H does love his distraction finishes. It's a way to keep people. I get it. Like, you can't have. You want some more clean finishes, obviously.
Yeah.
But at least in this case, and in all cases with the distraction finishes, there's storyline motivation for it. Like Gargano got distracted because he was fucking with JBL too much.
Yeah.
And so he gets to the point where he goes over and JBL's on commentary. He picks up his cowboy hat, he puts it on his head, and he does a little dance, which is pretty funny. And then, you know, he lays into Corbin some more. In this case, it wasn't even a distraction. It was like when the ref was distracted, JBL took Gargano's feet out from under him when he was on the apron. That allowed Corbin to get the upper hand and get the win with his end of days.
Yeah.
So at least in this case, it wasn't the ref was distracted, but
yeah,
it wasn't a clean finish. But I mean, in this case, what are you going to do? It's like, you know, you got Gargano. I like that they're protecting him.
Yeah, and it undermines JBL's thesis that Corbin can beat anybody of any era. He couldn't beat John Gargano here. Him. So I would hope at some point down the line, Gargano would eventually get a clean win over Corbin. We'll see if that happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then we got a Bianca Belair interview. She's asked what tonight will mean if she beats Bayley. She says a win tonight means finally putting an end to all this. Superstars like Candice LeRae are catching strays, and I can't stand for that, not when I'm leading this division. She says, I know I'm going to the ring outnumbered, so if that means I have to take out Dakota and Io in order to get to Bayley, that's exactly what I'm going to do, because now this has become bigger than the championship. This is about payback because Bayley has taken out every one of my friends. So tonight I'm not stopping till Bayley is left with absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. After that, we're back here. Miz steps up to John backstage, says, hey, he's got a greeting card. He says, Maurice and I got this get well card for Candice. We hope she feels better soon. Gargano says, you know, that's actually kind of nice of you, Miz. We've all had a tough night. Maybe we can put all this stuff behind us, sit down, talk like reasonable men. And Gargano says, the only reasonable thing to do is to tell the truth, Miz. And if you're not going to do it, then I will next week. And he looks at the card. He's like, you didn't even sign it. There's no money in here. You guys are rich.
You can at least put some money in. Yeah.
Yeah. And he walks. He said, you two are rich. You can at least put some money in it.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Then we got a Lesnar-Lashley video package. And then we got our main event, which was pretty spectacular.
Dude, this was really, really good stuff. Entrances started at the half-hour mark, so they gave it plenty of time.
Yeah.
This was really terrific stuff. Of course, towards the finish. So we had like Bailey trying to hit a KOD on Bianca. Bianca hit a Bailey to belly on Bailey. So there was a lot of really cool stuff going on here, referencing other matches and other moves. In the end, though, Damage Control is trying to get involved in the match. Danilo, the ref, comes down to try to throw them out. And right before he's able to do that, mystery person, Nikki Cross, comes flying off the ring post onto them, comes in, lays out Bianca. Bailey's able to get the pin because I believe that's when Jess, the referee, came running down, counted the pin because Nikki had hit Bianca with her neckbreaker finish.
Yep.
And then afterwards, Bailey's trying to celebrate with Nikki. Nikki comes in and just hits her with a move, and then she stands tall in the ring. And the camera gets a big close-up, and that's when we talk about how Kevin was like, oh, my God, I've never seen this version of Nikki Cross. And Corey's like, oh, my God, I have.
Yeah.
So, yep.
And
that's Raw.
That was Raw.
We have a question thread here. We got a question thread for every Raw and not really SmackDowns, because SmackDowns we do on Mondays. But we have them also for NXT, AEW. All on the Patreon at patreon.com/Steven Larson. It's a great way to help support Going In Raw.
That it is.
Get to leave your questions, get to watch some bonus stuff. And first up, Ben Aberley says, if Triple H called and charged you two with writing the big reveal of the real truth about Miz and Loomis, what would the shocking revelation be?
Loomis was sitting in catering. Had the last piece of Reese's pie on his plate. Stepped away to maybe get like a napkin or a fork or something. And then Miz came in, ate it. I feel like the Reese's pie is something that could tie a bunch of the world of wrestling together.
There's nothing that isn't just sort of bad Goofy. That I can think of.
Yeah, I know. I
don't know. Miz stole Maurice from Dexter Loomis back in the day, in terms of a boyfriend girlfriend situation, something stupid like that. I don't know. It's probably gonna be something dumb like that. But I don't know. I'm sure if I had more time, I could think of something that isn't terrible.
Yeah, same here.
Let's see here. Blake Whitehouse, what's more likely to happen? A Raw without a heel distraction win finish, or a Dynamite with two women's matches? I think if this is taking the question seriously, I think a Dynamite with two women's matches is probably more likely to happen. Yeah, because that's just how Triple H writes, And I get that's how Tony Khan writes, but at some point, they might be like, oh,
it's happened before. There has been episodes of Dynamite with two women's matches.
Yeah, they're just so few and far between.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Alex Foster. If WWE had a karaoke night, who should sing each other's wrestlers' themes? He says Otis should sing Gallus's theme. Okay. I think he's just asking this question because he finds the idea of Otis going, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh I am.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Can't beat your own answer there, Alex.
Baron should sing Shawn Michaels' theme.
That was Shawn Michaels, yeah. Think I'm cute. I'd want to hear Stone Cold Steve Austin sing DX's theme.
Oh, that's good.
Break it down. Degenerate into something, fool. Just get tired of doing what they told you to do. That's the breaks, boy. What? Good. That's the breaks, little man.
Break it down.
Yeah. Evolution is a mystery.
That's good. Let's do my time.
Stone Cold sings the hits. Yeah. How does my time go?
My time.
Oh man, yeah, I'll kill my voice doing that one.
My time.
He really screams on that. Let's see.
You don't know
here.
what trouble is.
Man from out west says NXT preview with Triple H. No, he doesn't do that.
No, Shawn Michaels would do that.
That's Shawn Michaels. But last night on the War Zone with me and Enforcer, it was suggested that maybe at some point in the near future, Enforcer will take the SmackDown preview off your hands. If there's a SmackDown preview available on Thursday night, maybe we can zoom in Triple H and maybe he can run one of those just to get. You've been so stressed out about the Triple H interviews.
I know. I feel like one of the reasons I haven't been able to shake this cold I've been dealing with for a week plus is loss of sleep.
Yeah,
stressing
right.
about this. I saw that suggested as well. And once I saw that, I was like, spectacular idea.
Okay. Yeah.
At one hand, I don't want Enforcer to have to deal with it at the same time. You know, sometimes you got to look out for number one, you know?
Look, you and I, we got to stop treating Enforcer with the kid gloves. He's won Big Red from us twice now. You know, like if he's going to be man enough to take our possession and beat us at predictions, he's got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah, there's a point to be made there.
So yeah, that might happen. I don't know when the SmackDown previews go up.
Yeah, I don't really look into it until Friday. So,
let's see here. Dave Matushek, if you were writing Raw for one night only, would you go hog wild, hold firm, or tone down distraction finishes that distract your enjoyment? So would you alter it to make it more like Larson friendly?
Oh, it'd be like wild card finals, man.
Yeah, be nothing but matches. No.
It'd be like a pay-per-view quality card.
Right, yeah. I'd write down
all
AJ Styles, Finn Balor 5-star match.
Yeah, that would be your booking sheet.
You want us to have a 5-star? How do we what? That's just one man's opinion. No, you got to go out there and get 5 stars.
Get in the head of Meltzer. Think about what he'd want.
Think about what Dave Meltzer would want. Do that.
Then do that.
Yeah, I want 15 false finishes, and maybe we can dress the place up, make it look like Tokyo Dome.
I want minimum 3 finisher kickouts.
Yeah.
All that.
New Japan branding.
You guys are going to wear Bullet Club gear.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. Sleazy Mo asked, do you think Money in the Bank should still have its own event? Yes.
Yes, that's the one I think should remain. All the other gimmick match branded pay-per-views, yeah. They should just incorporate those particular gimmick matches when it makes the most sense. But yeah, Money in the Bank should be its own thing.
Yep. Mayor Planet Houston, who do you see as being a legitimate contender for the women's tag titles now?
Sasha and Naomi when they return.
It's probably going to be some sort of, I would think, I don't know, like whoever's going to ally with whoever's going to be Bianca's teammates at War Games.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Toxic Attraction. Nikyle, should WWE allow Rhea Ripley to wrestle an intergender match? Yup.
1,000%.
Yeah, absolutely. Throwing around fucking Gallows like that.
Oh, that'd be amazing. It'd be amazing to see a full match of that. Amazing.
Oh, goodness. Patrick Sparks, man, what a fucking tough question.
Oh, dear.
What is the most memorable Raw from the 90s, 2000s, 10s, and 2020s?
So from the 90s, the one that really sticks out is the Raw where it's more moments in the whole show.
Yeah,
it's the one where Foley won the title.
Oh, yeah. I'd say, for me, it'd be that. The Corporate Rumble episode was good.
That was good. That was really good, too.
Good moment. Rock, This Is Your Life is probably because that was like viewed by an obscene number of people.
Yeah.
The 2000s. Wasn't the Ruthless Aggression segment?
It kicked off an episode of Raw, I believe, or was that SmackDown?
Was it did he do that? I think it was Raw. Did he do that on the same episode that John Cena debuted against Kurt Angle?
Cena debuted on SmackDown.
Okay. Was I don't remember if fucking promos, I don't know. Oh, the most memorable. No, the Dope has a good point here. He mentions Austin stunning WCW. I'm going to say when fucking McMahon bought WCW rather.
Yeah, that was shocking.
That was a shocking moment right there.
2010s is when that Raw we were at where CM Punk had the match against Vince and afterwards went into the crowd and elbowed somebody.
That's it. That's good. And then the 2020s, most memorable Raw 2020s. Oh,
maybe what's the 2020s? No, it's probably before that.
Probably the first episode. I mean, it's only been 2 years. Probably the first episode of the Triple H era.
Yeah.
You know, because it was like, oh my God, they're doing crazy shit they used to do in NXT. Look at the background stuff, you know?
Another good one was the first Raw after the draft where Finn was there and beat Roman.
Oh, for the 2010s? Yeah. Oh, that's, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yellow Flash, what are your thoughts on the commentaries team so far? I thought it was better before. I thought Jimmy Smith is better than Kevin Patrick.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
And I don't know if I just see Kevin Patrick as a commentary guy. Yeah, in my opinion, you got to bring a certain amount of energy to commentary.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's just way too passive. You know?
It seems like his approach would be more fitting of like a studio show.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But where part of his job is to heighten the drama and the excitement of the match, I don't really feel like that's what's happening right now.
Corey's good when he has somebody to play off of. Like, bring Booker T. It should be Cole, Booker T, and Corey Graves. Mm-hmm. That's what it should be. I think that's what it used to be.
Yeah, that was a good squad.
Luis Areza, do you see custom sets coming back? Which custom sets would be the coolest?
No, I don't see them coming back, especially now that. So, custom sets worked well in the standard definition era because. So this is something we noticed when we went to the WWE archive. A lot of the elements of the custom set were just painted plywood.
They look cheap as fuck.
And yes, on standard def, it looks fine, but in high def, you're going to notice how cheap that stuff looks. And to spend the money to upgrade all that is probably more than they're willing to spend for 12 shows a year. So yeah. I'd be hard pressed to believe that custom sets are coming back.
Yeah, I think you stick to Mania, Survivor Series. Maybe you do something custom for... I'm sorry, SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Maybe you do something special for the big ones.
Yeah.
Let's see here. That's it. That's it.
All right.
Yeah, that's going to do it for us. We're going to peter out then. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We definitely appreciate it. Tomorrow, of course, we've got our AEW review at night. I've got a new video up at WrestleJuice right now where I take a look at wrestling merch that I find on eBay, and some of it is wildly funny. So check that out. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. We also have a TikTok now. It's Friendo Club Wrestling, I think is the name of it. You just look that up. And we put up a bunch of clips from all sorts of stuff. So thanks for watching. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.